All right, it is, by the way, 1 o'clock, 40 minutes from now, talking about Jerry Bonkowski. Kevin Harvick, 3 race winning streaks, nothing for the man. He's done it twice already this year. Is there a lack of parity now in NASCAR? Well, when you don't have the big teams and the big sponsors, when Jimmy Johnson is losing his sponsorship, maybe this is a way. Maybe this is the reason. I'll ask Jerry about that. And, of course, it's also the Indianapolis 500, and he's a motorsports writer, so we get to talk about this. But a couple of things about getting out of the Golden Knights. I really wanted to do that. You know, we're the first radio station in the market to broadcast hockey games, and it's been a long time coming. But a couple of things. Quit talking about low hockey ratings on TV. I keep hearing it. Well, you might not be watching, but semifinal playoffs have been getting TV rating about 2. Okay, and then it fluctuates. Is the game on NBC? Is the game on NBCSN? Dirty little secret, we hear all this stuff about ESPN losing subscribers. I got to tell you something. NBCSN, you know, the alternative sports networks are also losing some subscribers. It's very expensive to have. I mean, admittedly, ESPN has spent the most money. And I think one of the reasons why we get the NBA stuffed down our throat this time of year is because ESPN, you know, Dan Patrick still calling it the mothership, rightly or wrongly, but they paid almost $3 billion to broadcast the NBA game, so they're going to promote it. You know, I'm watching Indians-Astros last night. Game ends. All right, here's the sports story of the day. The Vegas Golden Knights, they're in the Stanley Cup. Isn't it wonderful? Now let's go to the highlights of a really awful basketball game. And they led with the Golden Knights, but they gave it a courtesy headline. And then, hey, let's break down this rout. What was it? I don't even, you know. And as soon as they started doing that, I said, typical ESPN, turned it off. I mean, you know, I'm not the biggest NBA fan in the world. We all know that. A couple other quick notes. I want to say winning sports teams can make a community feel good about itself. I don't think there's any question about that. And so perhaps that's one of the great things about the Las Vegas Golden Knights, because their season actually began October 6th. The Las Vegas shooting was October 1, same week, Sunday, Friday. And so it was important for, you know, the community to feel good about itself. I get that. But it doesn't bring back the murdered. It doesn't answer the unsolved questions of the massacre. So I need to keep that in perspective. And like I said, let's talk the low hockey rate. We keep hearing about this. Okay. Semifinal game. I was looking through the hockey ratings, and they peak at a little bit over a 2 rating. All right, which is enough, actually, nowadays, believe it or not, to win your time slot. But anyway, now, the NBA, they've been getting anywhere from a 3 up. Now, I know that I'm comparing the lowest NBA rating of the semifinals to the highest hockey rating, but 2 versus 3. Is that really that big of you know, you might have double the NBA audience. I'll give you that. But what if you slice it in half? You know, you're also talking about what, Winnipeg and the 40th largest market in Las Vegas. And then you're talking about Ovechkin has star power. I'll give you that. But does he have as much as, say, Sidney Crosby? Debatable. I think Tampa is the 16th largest market, and D.C. is a top 10. And the reason why that is important, I don't know how many people really realize this, is the idea, and there is some, and it's an idea, there is some room for skepticism for this, but it's this way. The Heartland, you know, coast to coast, there's a set amount of people that are going to watch a hockey game, a baseball game, a football game. But if it has a real popular team, let's say the Dallas Cowboys in football, it'll get a higher rating because the Dallas Cowboys have so many fans. Pittsburgh Steelers, same way. Okay, and it could be a number of glamour franchises, obviously. Patriots, Raiders, all this. Hockey or some of these sports like that, it depends on the market because there are 21 million people in the New York metropolitan area. So if, let's just say, the Knicks are in the NBA Finals, then all of New York is behind the Knicks, or let's say the Brooklyn Nets or whatever. The idea is that all of that, and you've got, therefore, a bigger potential audience than would come out if it's Winnipeg, which isn't even in the country, or Toronto. Let's give you that. Toronto, that sort of thing. Anyhow, I just thought I would mention that to you. Remaining segment, I'm going to tell you, switching to college football, and I'll get you more college football news. But Vegas has come out with the over-under for Tennessee football victories. Speaking of Vegas, it's 6.5. Now, that's actually a little more optimistic than I am about the Tennessee Volunteers. I keep telling people, if they go 6-6, you should be ecstatic. You should be happy. This is a rebuilding project. This is a long way to go. What I was really surprised about, I guess, and I think that Tennessee is getting this on its reputation. Remember, when you set a number like that also, you're trying to keep the money on both sides. It's not necessarily a prediction. It's a way to keep the money even so that the action is taken on both sides. But what you have then is South Carolina, I saw. Similarly, 6-5. I'm like, wow, I think that's kind of low. Missouri with Drew Lock, 6-5. I know they have to come to Knoxville, but even so. I'll give you more of the over-under of what SEC teams are. Plus, yes, there is a quarterback transferring, and we'll discuss that. From Clemson and the Vols, they're after one D lineman, and they get a big-name linebacker. I'll tell you all about it when we return on Tri-City Sports Now.